Before he turned 19, he won everything, but somehow he wasn't the first pick in the NBA draft. 6 years and many records later, Luka Doncic is one of the most talented basketball players ever.
My basketball journey has been a lot of fun. I've always had a ball in my hand.
In this video, we'll analyze the amazing talent of Luka Magic and tell the unlikely story of how a kid from Slovenia became one of the biggest stars in the NBA.
Luka is for real now.
Luka's father, Sasha Doncic, was a professional basketball player in Slovenia, so Luka grew up around the game. He wasn't even old enough to talk when he first saw his father play live.
Well, my father played, so I was always in contact with basketball. Every time he had a game in the halftime or before the game, I was going to shoot. Even if I couldn't hit the rim because I was like 3 years old.
And at the age of 5, Luka was already regularly playing basketball. By the age of 8, he went to his first real basketball practice, which lasted precisely 16 minutes. That was all it took for his coach to realize that Luka was miles ahead of everybody in his age group. So he moved him up to play with the 12-year-olds. However, even that wasn't a real challenge for Doncic. After a few practices, the coaches gathered to talk about the young phenom and decided to move Luka from the basketball school to Olympia's club team, intended for the most serious athletes.
Since I was 7, I always watched basketball, played basketball, so it was just something from the first moment.
For the first few years, Luka wasn't that dominant and often played a complementary role, never leading a team in scoring. Because he was 3 years younger than everybody and his feet had grown ahead of his body, he was sometimes clumsy and couldn't always do what he wanted on the court. But ultimately, this helped him develop his basketball IQ and his fighting spirit. Even though the age gap affected how his teammates related to him off the court, treating him like a younger brother, Luka refused to be treated that way on the court and never allowed anybody to bully him. The first time Luka played with kids his age was when he was 13 during an international under-13 tournament in Rome. Luka was 5'11" at the time, and his basketball skills and IQ were far ahead of any 13-year-old in the world. He ran circles around defenders, made no-look passes, and sank silky smooth jumpers. In the final game of the tournament, Doncic scored a 54-point triple-double, leading his team to a 104-76 victory, and was awarded the tournament MVP, averaging 34 points per game. Luka was so dominant that every youth scout in Europe was amazed. And suddenly, the secret was out. He became the most sought-after 13-year-old athlete in Europe, not just in basketball. 6 months later, he left his parents and moved to Real Madrid, which was a very risky move at the time.
I had to leave all my family, all my friends, the school I was there, everything, so...
He was mature as a child also, but if you go away from home with 13 years old, you become very mature. So this helped him to develop in basketball.
It was really tough. I didn't know nobody. Actually, I almost didn't speak English either. I just know how to say hello, how are you, with that stuff. Nobody spoke my language. I didn't speak Spanish. So it was really tough. And that's how I learned Spanish so quick. In 3 months, I was just doing nothing. Just be there, listen, be quiet.
Luka didn't know Spanish. He was far removed from his parents at a very young age. And maybe even more importantly, Real Madrid wasn't invested so much in basketball, as they were very much a football club first and foremost, and the basketball team hadn't won a single trophy in 5 years. Going to Madrid or Barcelona as a young player, no matter how talented they are, more often than not isn't a winning combination. And the number of young players who go there and never play for the first team is huge. But Luka wasn't going to back down from a challenge. He again started playing with older kids, dominating youth tournaments and winning MVPs. He quickly learned the language and acclimated to Spanish culture. And after just 2 years, at the age of 15, he started practicing with the senior team. At 16, he made his debut for Madrid, becoming the youngest player ever to play for Real, and the third youngest debutant in league history. For the 2015-16 season, Doncic became a regular member of Real Madrid's senior team, and when he made his EuroLeague debut, he became only the 21st player ever to play in the EuroLeague before turning 17.
And he was 17, and he would make some passes that I don't even know how he was doing that. And his IQ was so good at 17.
And then, in the 2016-17 season, Luka exploded. In December of 2016, before he even turned 18, Doncic became a Player of the Week in the Spanish League. And 4 days later, against Zalgiris, he was named MVP in the round of the EuroLeague, becoming the youngest player ever to do so. But it's not only the accomplishment that was impressive, it's how Luka did it. He took 2 clutch shots in the last minute of the game like a cold-blooded vet, making both to win the game.
Doncic
Another three. Oh my God.
Luka also wasn't just some reserve that got hot. He was actually a starter and the best player on the floor in the strongest competition in Europe. No 17-year-old should be able to take over a game like that, wave off his teammates in the clutch, and take those shots with no fear. But Luka was bred all his life for those moments, always playing against more experienced competition. By the end of the season, he was named EuroLeague MVP of the round 3 more times, was awarded the EuroLeague Rising Star by a unanimous vote, and claimed the Spanish League Best Young Player award. After the season, Luka joined the Slovenian national team to compete in the 2017 Eurobasket. There he formed a backcourt with Goran Dragic, a guy that used to play with his dad, when Luka was just a 6-year-old ball boy.
He was like 2, he would come and watch, he would be at practices. When he was older, like 8, 7, he would be a ball boy or come watch the game. So
fast forward 11 years, and they formed the best backcourt in Europe, where Dragic drove the opposing guards crazy with his speed, while Luka dissected defenses with surgical passing. And while Dragic was clearly the best player on the team, Slovenia actually looked more stable when Doncic organized the offense, making perfect decisions on almost every possession. In Slovenia's 103-97 win over Latvia in the quarterfinals, Luka scored 27 points and grabbed 9 rebounds. In the semifinals against Spain, he recorded 11 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists, with 0 turnovers, and Slovenia won again. In the final against Serbia, Luka had 8 points and 7 rebounds.
He takes it all the way. Oh! How about that from Luka Doncic?
Before exiting the game in the third quarter due to an injury. But Dragic was an unsolvable mystery for everybody, and with his 35 points, Slovenia won gold. Dragic was named the tournament MVP, and Luka made the all-tournament team, averaging 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists.
He's a born winner, so, no, I'm not kidding. Mark my words, he's gonna be one of the best in the whole world.
When the 2018 club season started, there wasn't a question of who was the best player and leader at Real Madrid. Luka grabbed the keys to the offense and started orchestrating his teammates, often waving his hand at vets when they started to screen without being invited. This kind of moxie and complete understanding of basketball was something never seen before, at least not by an 18-year-old. However, Luka backed it all up with his game. He dominated both in the Spanish League and the EuroLeague, winning multiple Player of the Round and Player of the Month awards, again becoming the youngest player to do it.
I don't have really words right now. It's an amazing feeling, very special for me, and I'm so glad to have these teammates, to have these coaches, to have everybody in my team, and I'm really happy.
He recorded the first triple-double in the Spanish League since 2007 and only the 7th in league history. If you think that's strange compared to the NBA, bear in mind that European players rarely average over 25 minutes per game. Throughout the season, Luka hit multiple game winners and clutch shots, and it seemed like he could do no wrong.
Step back, three-pointer for the game. You eat that!
Doncic led Real Madrid to the EuroLeague title, becoming the youngest player ever to win MVP of the Final Four, and the youngest ever to win regular season MVP. After that, he did the same thing in the Spanish League, leading Real to the title and winning the season MVP.
It's amazing, it was really hard to get here. The whole season, I always say, I think this was one of the best seasons in EuroLeague. Anything could beat you, so I'm very, very happy to be here and play this final.
In just 3 years of being a pro, Doncic became the LeBron of European basketball, a guy who doesn't need any actions called for him and can run the entire offense by himself.
Once again, lovely skill. Have some of that.
With an almost perfect overview of the game, Luka was equally good at finding passing lanes for his teammates or creating space for his own shot. He wasn't fast, but he always got where he wanted to go on the court. He wasn't athletic, yet he could always get defenders off balance. And his shot wasn't perfect, but he always seemed to hit big shots when it mattered the most. A reason for Luka's dominance is how he trained his body. He had been visiting the P3 Institute in Santa Barbara since he was 16.
I went twice to Santa Barbara to work at P3.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, great place.
P3 was developed with a scientific approach, where the athlete is monitored through sophisticated cameras and sensors that scan every athlete's movement from all angles, and then through a computer software analyzes their strengths and weaknesses. The athletes are given detailed training plans to correct their deficiencies observed in performance, with a focus on mobility, speed, and agility. When Doncic first got there, they worked on his mobility and explosiveness, and according to their data, Luka became elite in one specific parameter: deceleration.
Luka Doncic is not a vertical or linear athlete, but he's got the best breaks in the world.
Most NBA players are fantastic when it comes to acceleration. From 1 to 100, they go like a Ferrari. Unlike them, Luka goes from 100 to 0 in the blink of an eye, which is very important when attacking with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, I think it's just playing at my own pace. I think a lot of guys appreciate that. It's been different, than some guys. They're really athletic. I wish I was, but playing at my own pace is what gives me some moment to think.
And despite Luka breaking nearly every record in the second best league in the world, winning all the titles, hitting big shots, and leading grown men at the age of 18, many NBA GMs believed he wasn't better than some college basketball players. They believed Luka's game wouldn't translate and that he was too slow for the NBA. And that's how Doncic fell away to the third pick in the draft to the Atlanta Hawks, who would subsequently trade him to the Mavericks for Trae Young. But even the Mavericks, who wanted to draft Luka all along, believed in his talent, and they had been tracking him since he was 13. They didn't even fully grasp his greatness. So much so that Luka didn't even start at point guard in his rookie season. Instead, he shared ball duties with Dennis Smith Jr., the previous year's lottery pick and all-rookie selection. Luka made his first start at point guard 6 weeks into the season, when Smith missed a game due to injury, and recorded 15 points and 8 assists in a home win over the Celtics.
Luka got it back. Luka looking for an outlet.
Doncic then averaged 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists during an 11-game stretch in December, after which the Mavs realized they had, by far, the best player in the draft. In January, Luka became the youngest player ever to record a triple-double, and the first teenager in NBA history with a 30-point triple-double and multiple triple-doubles. Doncic was just the 5th player in NBA history to average at least 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in his rookie year.
First of all, I would like to make the playoffs, but personally, I think every rookie wants to go in the Rookie of the Year.
And he was just 2 votes shy of being the 6th player ever to win Rookie of the Year unanimously.
He's passed that next step after his first season. Like, you knew Luka's going to be that guy, and he's that guy now.
Early in his sophomore season, he became the fastest player to reach 2,000 points in the NBA, 5 games faster than LeBron James, 10 games faster than Durant and Carmelo, and 75 games faster than Kobe Bryant. Once he got acclimated to the NBA, Luka became not only the most important piece in the Mavericks system, he was the system. A guy who pulled all the strings and made everything go. Doncic averaged 29, 9, and 9 for the season and made the first team All-NBA, becoming just the 2nd player behind Tim Duncan with that honor in his first 2 seasons. But when the playoffs started, Luka took it up a notch. In his first playoff game against the Clippers, he scored 42 points, which was the most ever in an NBA playoff debut. In Game 4 of the series, Luka became the youngest player in NBA postseason history with a 40-point triple-double, scoring 43 points, 17 rebounds, and 13 assists, including this dagger for the win.
Back to Doncic. Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
However, the Clippers still proved too strong for Dallas, winning the series in 6 games, despite Luka averaging 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. In his 3rd year, Luka continued to break records, again making first All-NBA team and finishing 6th in the MVP voting. Dallas again matched up with the Clippers in the first round, and Doncic was even better this time, averaging 35, 8, and 10. But the Mavericks lost again, this time in 7 games. And just like with all great players, doubters started to arise. How come Luka is so great but can't win in the playoffs? But the only difference between Luka and Michael Jordan, for example, is that Luka got that criticism earlier than anybody, since he was still only 21 years old. And when the 21-22 season started, Luka came back with a vengeance. In 2 back-to-back games against the Clippers, his favorite customer, Doncic scored 96 points, including a career-high 51. During February, Luka became the first player in NBA history to average 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists per game, while shooting at least 40% from three-point range in a calendar month. And he once again made the All-NBA first team. But even more importantly, the Mavs finally started winning in the playoffs. They got past the Jazz in the first round, which secured them a tough matchup against the defending Western Conference champion Phoenix Suns. It was a tough, evenly matched series, with the home team winning each of the first 6 games. Game 7 was played in Phoenix, and the world expected the Suns to advance. Instead, we saw a complete abomination and a total blowout.
27-point lead. Down goes Johnson. Oh no. They're shredding him.
At one point, the Mavs had a 46-point lead, and Doncic sunned Devin Booker, who openly mocked him in the previous game. However, in the conference finals against the Warriors, despite Luka averaging 32 points per game, the Mavs were overmatched, and they lost the series in 5. In the 2023 season, Luka set a career high in points, 60, and rebounds, 21, becoming the first player in NBA history to record a 60-point, 20-rebound triple-double in a 126-121 victory over the New York Knicks.
Got the rebound in a one motion, put it up. I mean,
you can practice that 100 times. It won't
happen. It won't happen, right?
Right. Incredible.
And the only player other than James Harden to record a 60-point triple-double. And despite setting several other records and another first-team All-NBA, the Mavericks missed the playoffs altogether, even after they added Kyrie Irving.
Everybody wants to win the championship. I want to win the championship here. So it's our goal, every season is the same goal. But it's a lot of work to do.
This brings us to 2024, in a year where Luka made another step forward and further improved his game. He improved his averages to an unreal 33.9 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 9.2 assists per game, winning his first scoring title. In a January game against Atlanta, Luka torched the Hawks for 73 points, the fourth highest scoring game ever, and the first 70-point game while shooting 75% or better from the field. Just insane.
I was just going, whatever the defense give me. In the second half, they double me all the time, so I tried to make some plays. So then sometimes I would just break the double. So just seeing the game.
For the entire season, Luka disintegrated every defense like rust disintegrates iron on an abandoned ship, slowly and relentlessly. His footwork has become so masterful that almost every step has its own meaning. One is tiny, the second a bit bigger, the third lulls you to sleep, and with the fourth, he's gone. Jab, 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 right hook, KO. His understanding of space and basketball geometry, combined with his perfect handle, amazing footwork, and big body that constantly leans on opponents and pushes them out of balance, it's like basketball art.
The full speed to the decel, how much are you practicing that? When did you develop that?
I didn't practice that. I just call it the slow step, but I never really practiced that one.
This will not be Doncic's last scoring title, and he'll continue to break records like he's done all his career. Luka is only 25, but even if he retired right now, he's already one of the greatest to ever do it.